Hey you guys, this is Beauty Manifested. I'm Danny Detige. Thank you so much for joining me here today. This is a channel for stories telling, and so it would make sense if you subscribe, because then you can kind of understand my whole story and my whole perspective, and everything will tie together. However, if you're just hopping on for this one video, I'm so happy to have you here. My only ask is that you don't leave any mean comments, because if you've only seen one video, it just wouldn't make sense to have any negative comments, because you don't really understand my full perspective and it may not make sense to you. Anyways, the story for today is it's a sad one. I'm not gonna tell the whole story because it's not mine to tell, but I just had a really sad, not even sad, I just had a very interesting conversation. And I felt a lot of things about it, and so I wanted to kind of get on here in the heat of the moment while I'm still processing. And so first, one thing that I always say is that only God can judge. And I'm a Virgo, and I tend to make a lot of judgments. Like, I'll say things, broad blanket statements, only for those broad blanket statements to be debunked shortly after. And so everything I say is my opinion, and my opinion is always evolving because I'm always receiving more information. I'm an extremely open-minded person, and I love to have dialogue, and I love to grow and expand my mind and perspective. I love to travel. I just love to experience people, and I can really talk. Relationships are really just like the foundation of my life. It's one of my core values. Connection is probably my reason for life. I like to connect with people. So something that I've said in the past, one of my broad blanket statements, was that I don't believe in mental health or mental illness. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I feel that people don't have gratitude, people don't have good nutrition. Like, I feel that there's a lot of things, the things that cause mental illness are very much within our control, is basically what I'm saying. And I don't really feel that people should go on all these like heavy medications and things to suppress the symptoms of their mental illness. Rather, they should get to the root of it and then really try to deal with it from there. A little bit more into this story is I spent a lot of time, this is kind of irrelevant, but I did spend a lot of time volunteering for a special needs cheer team. And so I spent a lot of time with people who have like autism and Asperger's and different like social anxieties and things, as well as other special needs like cerebral palsy and like different things that made them different. And so I'm very compassionate towards people who relate in different ways. And if I do say so myself, I think I really have a gift and a talent for making those people feel seen, understood, appreciated, and accepted, because I truly am a very accepting person, and I'm a very strong communicator. And so I pride myself on being able to communicate with a wide variety of people. And then after that, I spent a couple years of my life being very involved with the homeless community. I just felt called to it. And so while I was working in a downtown area, most days I would, most days I would take different homeless people from the community out for lunch and have conversations with them. On holidays, I would volunteer at homeless shelters and like men's shelters and women's shelters and things. And then also just like working in a downtown area, I was at a Starbucks specifically, and we would get just all kinds of people who would come through. We had a lot of regulars, and I just built a lot of relationships with a lot of different people. And that is during that homeless exploration that I went on, that's where I developed the belief that like, I don't want to judge people who are in that place, because life is not easy, and not everybody is equipped. And I will say, when I formed that belief, I was without faith. I was not a Christian, although I was raised Christian. I had really moved away from religion and kind of got more into just like spirituality and my own moral compass. And so I was without faith at that time. And so now my views are maybe a little bit different. But I just had a conversation with someone, a mother. She had two sons, they're twins, and one of them is no longer with us because he took his own life. And she was just kind of sharing with me some of that experience in raising him, and how the experience of living with someone and raising someone who has like so many self-esteem issues and just OCD and sensory issues and just like literally so many things going on. Like a couple of examples is like just really being obsessive compulsive, being a perfectionist, like not being able to leave the house, having body dysmorphia, always being on different diets, not wanting people to even look at him because he feels so like insecure about the way he looks, like hating to look in the mirror because he just like hates the look of it, and then not wanting his own mother to look at him because he hates the way that he looks. And I'm only giving an overview because I don't feel that this is necessarily my story to tell. I more just want to talk about my reaction to it. But she just spoke about having these two sons, and the other one is a little different. He's more able to be social, but he still has like a lot of these difficulties. And that just like, and she talked about her experience as the mother and like how she wants them to feel accepted and loved, and how she would cope, because living with someone with these issues impacts you every day. Like there were certain words she couldn't say, there were certain things she couldn't do because it would bother this person. And so it starts to make you more aware of these things that maybe you wouldn't have even noticed. Like if your fingertips are dirty, like just like random things, but because the person that you're living with has all these sensory issues, it just brings your attention to it. And I can only imagine, like, that seems so difficult. And like, for me, someone who's never had this experience and never really experienced living with someone who's like this, how ignorant do I sound to be like mental illness isn't real? You've never lived with someone who has to like flush the toilet 76 times before you can leave the house. You've never lived with someone who, I don't even know, washes their fingertips for an hour. Like there's so many things that go on, but I think that I can still stand on my original viewpoint that like the causes, I believe that these illnesses are both curable and preventable through nutrition, in some cases therapy. But at the same time, I am not a scientist and I really don't know, but it really intrigues me and it scares me, quite honestly, because I have been sheltered in a lot of ways to not have to deal with people with these issues firsthand. And so that's why I was feeling like it must not even exist. But then having this experience of hearing someone else's experience, I'm like, okay, this is a real issue. What can we do about it? Why? And I know other people with self-esteem issues, and I myself, I used to have self-esteem issues, and I kind of am of the belief that all women, probably all people, have self-esteem issues. And this is where my faith comes in. When I have faith in God, I really have no space to have self-esteem issues because I receive my confidence from God. And it's like to hate myself would be to hate God. To think that there's something wrong with me would be to say that like God is not perfect and he makes mistakes and he doesn't know what he's doing, clearly, because he made me, and so therefore I'm perfect. So for me to think otherwise, to me, is like a direct attack on my faith. And so that's kind of like the issue that I have with the self-esteem issues. And I feel like I had the self-esteem issues when I was without faith. But the issue is, there's a lot of issues. This is like really hurting me deep down. I'm gonna pray and meditate on it tonight, because I'm like, this, it hurts my heart, like, that people are having this experience. And I remember, like, listen, like, I had horrible self-esteem issues. I used to hate myself. I used to think I was fat. I used to think all these things. And mind you, like, I've never been fat. I've never weighed more than maybe 145 pounds. And that was this year. When I was in school and when I was having these issues, I was like 110 pounds. So I don't, like, I just had all kinds of issues, and I was insecure, and I felt like people didn't like me, and that I wasn't having like the results that I wanted. And it was a lot going on, right? And at that time, I was without faith. However, I have talked about the reason that I was without faith is because my early introduction to religion, like, I didn't really like it. And so I didn't want to continue it on my own. And I feel like a lot of people have that, but even worse, because my experience with religion, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't good. Like, I just didn't really get the point. Some people have had a truly negative experience with religion to the point that they don't want to go back, and that they don't even want to look at the Bible, and that they think all these things. And it's like, I really do feel that faith can fix a lot of self-esteem issues, because you have to know that there's something bigger than you, and that you are a piece of the puzzle. However, my spiritual side says that sometimes someone comes here on this planet to have like this experience of body dysmorphia, anxiety, all that stuff. Like, if that's the way he is, that's the way he is, that's his experience. And then the mother, she received him so that she could learn some sort of spiritual lesson. And that, sorry, hold on. Right, I kind of forgot where I was, but I'll just continue on the point and then I'll wrap up. Everybody's not equipped to deal with life. I do hold the belief that everything happens for a reason. Every experience is intentional, and it's meant to move you towards your destiny and your soul's ultimate purpose. I do believe in multiple lifetimes, and an infinite soul life. And so sometimes you have an experience in this life to teach you things for your next life, and so on and so on. I do still believe that. The disclaimer I gave earlier in the video is that my beliefs are always changing and evolving. I'm very open-minded and taking in new information. So, maybe I won't believe that at a different time. But right now, I do believe in infinite life. And I believe that every experience is intentional. I believe it's all written by the same hand. I believe that God has divinely and perfectly designed our lives to teach us everything that we need to know, and that life is the ultimate teacher. I believe that your life and your experience is your testimony. You are meant to overcome. You are meant to recover. You are meant to grow. You are meant to share. You are meant to serve. And as much as that story I just heard literally broke my heart, this woman who I was talking to, this mother, is one of the most kind-hearted, sweet, loving people I've ever met. And it's just amazing everything that she's gone through in her life. You wouldn't even believe it, because she's so kind and gentle. And you would think that these experiences maybe would have hardened her. And there's so much to think. Like, this is really reminding me of my faith, and how there's so much I don't know, and I'm not supposed to know it all. And so I'm not even going to try to pretend to figure this out, because I do not know. All I know is that I had a strong emotional reaction to her story, and that I wanted to talk and share about it. But I really don't know how to feel about everything that I just heard. I don't know why people have these experiences. I don't know why some people are born hating themselves like that. But I do know that for me, my confidence comes from God. I want to lead with love always. I want to be kind to people. I want to be a ray of light in this world. And I want to share my testimony and how I came from literally hating myself, thinking so low of myself, having all kinds of anxieties, to not even being able to comprehend like why somebody would ever feel like that. And I'm someone who used to feel like that, but it literally doesn't make sense to me. Like, that version of me is dead, and I I don't have the empathy. I don't like I don't get it. To me, I was just without God. Like, that was the issue. And it could have been nutrition too. I used to eat a lot of Taco Bell back then. I wasn't very healthy. It was environment, it was nutrition, it was lack of faith. It was like so many different things. But if you're in a place where you are doubting yourself and you are lacking confidence and things like that, like, if you commit to doing better, you can do better. But you have to really commit and you have to really decide, or otherwise you're just not going to make it. And the person who had all those issues I kind of talked about in the video, he didn't make it. He took his own life, and it's not my place to judge that at all. Not everybody is equipped for this life. It's not easy, but I do believe that if you decide that you want to be different, you can be different. I did it, but it's not my place to compare. I don't know what these people are going through. My heart goes out to them. I hate that for them. But the reason I hate that for them is because I wouldn't want that for myself. And once again, like, I can't be comparing and trying to put myself in their shoes, because at the end of the day, if you've never walked a day in another man's moccasins, you just don't know. You just don't know. And so I guess this is me reneging. I take it back. I said that I don't believe in mental illness and all, that it's fake and that people are hypochondriacs and all this stuff. I take it back. I take it back. I have never walked a day in another man's moccasins. I truly don't know what other people are going through. I only know myself and my journey. I know that me personally, I used to have a lot of self-esteem issues, and I had to cultivate self-esteem through faith and through practice. That's all I gotta say on this. Like, man, just be compassionate. Like, you never know what people are going through. Some of the sweetest, kindest people have fought serious battles. Like, just be a considerate, loving person. I love you guys. Be blessed. Peace.